Ilya Abelski is noted for his wonderful craftsmanship for something that people look at all over the world, but it dates back to something in old school Russia. Now, he's the creator of an 800-piece collection of unique miniature jeweled eggs that carry on the tradition of that heralded 19th century wondrous person called Faberge and the Faberge egg. Just in time for Mother's Day, Griner and his wonderful, or rather Ilya and his collection are at Griner Jewelry. Now, that's in Moultrie, Georgia, and he's joining us live via Skype from there. Ilya, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me.
And your collection is beyond beautiful. How did you come up with the idea to begin to create Faberge-style eggs, and how were you trained?
I was born and raised in St. Petersburg, Russia, and when I was 6 years old, I went to the Winter Palace of the Russian Tsars, and by accident I walked into the room where the Faberge eggs was displayed, and that was the original Faberge eggs that was made for the royal family of the Russian Tsars. I was so amazed by the beauty of the design and the uniqueness of the craftsmanship that made such an impact on me that I carried through the rest of my life. I educated in Russia, got my degree in jewelry design, and I started handcrafting unique pieces, developing the lost art considered firing glass and doing the enameling. Nobody had done this after the Faberge passed away after the Russian Revolution. So for me, discovering the process and discovering the history and the religious symbolism behind the egg, it was something that I was fascinated with.
And the Faberge family, again, I mean, the Tsars went to them exclusively and to Carl Faberge to make these eggs, and they are each one is a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. How long does it take for you to create these masterpieces that we can see? Like, what goes into, as far as time, creating that perfect egg?
Faberge employed 500 craftsmen, and it took them a year to come up with a design and implement the design to develop the piece. Of course, we miniaturized Faberge eggs, and that's why we call them Faberge-style egg miniatures. And our eggs carry the same style, the same tradition, but they're made a lot smaller, and it takes about a day to make one.
And what are some of the jewels? I know most of the Faberge eggs are priceless. The metals, they're made with gold and inlaid with rubies and emeralds and all kind of wonderful precious metals. What do you put into your Faberge-style miniature eggs?
Interestingly enough, Faberge never emphasized the importance of the material. He was working for the Tsars of Russia, and the material and stones was not, the price was not an object. He was able to use any material he wanted to use, so he really challenged the craftsmanship. So materials become second.
Amazing. Well, when you look at them, they certainly transport you back to an old world time in Russia. Thank you so much, Ilya Abelski, for sharing with us your Faberge-style mini eggs. We'll make sure that we post on our social media sites so that you can have a chance to experience this with him. And if you're in the area, he'll be at the Griner Jewelry Store, which is just across from the old courthouse in Moultrie, Georgia. He'll be there May 9th through the 11th, and that goes on from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Again, 10 to 6, May 9th through the 11th in Moultrie, Georgia. The collection is beyond amazing.